Are you ready for this month's Viewer's Choice book review? That's coming right up here on Drew's Book Reviews. Good day. Welcome to another episode of Drew's Book Reviews. So today we're doing the Viewer's Choice book review. So last month in March, I'd put up a poll to see which book series or book that I was reading in the month of March that you, my viewers, would most like to see my thoughts on. And that has won out. So today we are doing the review on the Gods of Blood and Powder Trilogy. Now, I actually technically only read Blood of Empire in the month of March, but I'm kind of doing this as a full trilogy review. So this is the second trilogy in the Powder Mage world. Before we get into that, of course, check out all the links below for some cool stuff, Patreon, Bookstagram, Discord, all that link below, check that out. And of course, like, comment, and subscribe. So let's take a look at this. So this is the Blood and Powder Trilogy by Bran Mccellan. This is the second book series in the Powder Mage world. If you haven't read the first trilogy in the Powder Mage world, definitely make sure you check that out. I will link the video to that down below as well as in the cards. The first trilogy is simply known as the Powder Mage Trilogy. So if you don't know about this series, definitely I would say it's well worth it. This is a military fantasy, but it's got a really unique magic system, as I touched on a little bit in my video on the Powder Mage Trilogy, the first trilogy in this world. There's different types of magic systems within this, or rather it's kind of all linked one type of magic system. There are three primary types of magic users. You've got the knacked, which are people that just have this unique skill or this unique talent that goes far beyond the normal. Like a knacked might have a perfect memory, always being able to remember everything all the time perfectly. You also have knacked who simply don't need sleep, so they never sleep. Things like that. And then there's also the second, or I guess mid-tier magic users, I guess you could call them, and those are the powder mages. These are people that get their power from gunpowder, essentially. It's kind of powder magic, where they inhale, ingest, eat, sniff, snort, whatever, gunpowder, in order to obtain their magical powers. And with these powder mage abilities, they're able to stop bullets, redirect them, ignite powder kegs, and it enhances their senses so they could see better, they could hear better, they become stronger and more powerful in their battle prowess and their fighting ability. And then we have the next stage, which is called the privileged. These are people who are basically this world's all-powerful mega magic users. They are sorcerers. They have no need for power, powder, or anything like that to obtain their powers. They reach into what's called the else, which enables them to kind of reach into this otherworldly realm in order to draw power from it and bring about their magic use within this world. And then there's this even more powerful level, which is this world's gods, but we'll touch on that in a little bit. And then there's this even more powerful level called gods. So these are this world's gods, who are kind of even more powerful than the actual privilege themselves. And they are the super godlike powers that they have obtained from this. But we also have kind of another type of magic user within this world, and those, they use blood magic. These blood magic users are known as Bonais, and they're from a nation which is referred to as Dionyse. So they are the Dionyse Bonais. They use blood magic, and they could be pretty powerful in and of themselves. They're effectively the privilege of the Dionyse society, and the Palo, who are their cousins as well. And of course, they have their own version, I guess, of powder mages, which they have as well, although they're not quite powder mages. They're kind of their version of the powder mages. These are the dragon men, which are like these ultimate superior fighting force who are protected by Bonai magic, and they have enhanced strength, enhanced healing, enhanced fighting capabilities, and all that kind of cool stuff. So that's basically a little bit of a description of how the magic works within this world, in the Powder Mage world. By the way, I absolutely love the Powder Mage. If you haven't read the Powder Mage and you like that military fantasy, check this out. It is well worth it. So this is the second series within the Powder Mage world. The basic premise behind this particular book series, or this set of trilogy, is that this takes place about a decade or so after the events of the first Powder Mage novel that came out. So we still have, of course, Vora and Olam and Kapol and all those characters, some of those characters that we love from the first series of novels. But definitely it's more this is 10 years later, so there's a lot that has changed over the past 10 years, and things are just getting kind of crazy. Because see, the Dionysians, they are invading because they want the God Stones. These are these relics, these monoliths that are so deeply imbued with sorcerous power that they have the ability to create new gods. Now, I will just say this, mild spoiler for the previous series, the original Powder Mage series. So if you don't want mild spoilers for that, I'm just warning you right now. Anyway, as we know from the original Powder Mage series, there was a battle, a war against some gods, the gods Kresimir, who was ultimately defeated. And in the original Powder Mage, we know just how powerful and how dangerous these gods can be, and how they manipulate the world and just have that ability to control the world around them and all that good stuff, or bad stuff, depending on your viewpoint on that. So we know that having a god in the world is a dangerous, bad thing, and we don't want to see this happen again. But we have one of these most powerful Bonais from Dionysus, Ka-Sadil. Now, call it Ka. If you remember from the original series, there's Ka-Pol, and we have Ka-Sadil, who Ka being a title within the Dionysus world. He is wanting to use these god stones to turn himself into another god, which is exactly what this world does not want. And so, of course, we've got Vlora and Olam and their army, who are basically trying to stop this creation of this god after the havoc that had racked through the world in the previous Powder Mage world. So this conflict that comes up between why the Dionysians are invading. We learn more about what Ka means in the introduction of Ka-Sadil. We start to understand a little bit more about what Ka-Pol is all about as well, as we learn more about that magic and the power behind that. We definitely learn more about the history of Ka-Pol and who she is and where she came from, which I absolutely love learning more about Ka-Pol, and her involvement in this is just awesome. I love that. She is powerful. She's awesome. She's a mute character that doesn't have the ability to communicate verbally. So everything's done through hand gestures and sign language and all kinds of stuff. One of the other characters we have introduced within this world and within this book is Mad Ben Stike. Now, this is a guy who is basically branded as a war criminal and thrown in prison. Mad Ben Stike is just that. He is Mad Ben Stike, and he's got his Mad Lancers, who are basically his unique military unit. They're an elite military unit that kind of works with Vlora, Field Marshal Vlora now, within this world in an effort to stop the creation of a new god. And speaking of the concept of God within this world, one thing that I really find unique about this particular series, I mean, there's lots of fantasies where there are gods involved. Absolutely. Now, again, might be a mild spoiler with regard to gods. I don't really consider it much of a spoiler myself, but perhaps you will. So just advance warning here. One thing I like about the gods in this world is the gods are just effectively another advanced form of magic. They are just basically one more level to the magic within this world. They're not like these all-powerful things separate and distinct from the magic users and the sorcery within this world. They use the sorcery that comes with this world. They are part of that, and they are just one more level. So you've got essentially within this world multiple levels of magic users, and each level using a different type of magic. So of course the Nact, you got the Powder Mages, you got the Bonais, you got the Privileged, and then you got the Gods, which are like the most powerful magic users of them all. But because it's set up this way, the Gods themselves are not undefeatable. They can be defeated, and that's what I really like about this. In so many situations, you know, in fantasy novels and books and stories, the Gods are the undefeatable ones, and you want them on your side. And they're kind of separate from the world. They're not so much part of the magic or just another level of magic users. So that's what I really like about this idea behind how the gods work within this world, which I just think is a really cool thing, and I really love that about this. One of the other characters we have introduced is Mccellan. Now, he is essentially this trilogy's Inspector Adamant. Inspector Adamant from the original is kind of an inspector that kind of gets caught up in everything that's going on, and he's sent to investigate and figure things out and help manage things throughout Field Marshal Tamas's campaign and everything that's going on. So in this case, we have Mccellan. He is a black hat spy who has to infiltrate different areas of society in order to help achieve the goals that he's working for one of the characters in this book. I don't want to say who, he's working for within this series because I don't want to spoil anything. But he essentially plays the role that Adamant played in the first trilogy. So if you read the first trilogy, you kind of get what I'm getting at here. The Black Hats are this secret society, or not secret society, they're essentially this world's secret police. So he's kind of got to infiltrate different areas of society through his role, through the Black Hats and the particular character that he's working for. And trust me when I say, if I tell you who he's working for, it's going to be a spoiler. So I don't want to do that. But essentially, he is the Adamant of this book series, and I just love this series. It's fantastic. I love this world that Brian Mcclellan has created, and it is so much fun seeing this book out there and seeing what's going on in this world and the creation of the gods and the Godstone and the powers fighting back and forth. And there's some crazy stuff going on in this world, and it's just awesome all around, and I absolutely love it. If you love military fantasy, if you love this kind of fantasy, you've got to check out both the Powder Mage and the Gods of Blood and Powder trilogy, because they are so good. I absolutely love this series of books, and I'm sure that you will too, especially if you like this kind. I'm so glad that my viewers chose this for the Viewer's Choice review this month. So definitely, as a whole, I would give this story a 5-star review as a whole, just because it is so good. And I love everything about it. So there you are. There are my thoughts on Gods of Blood and Powder by Brian Mcclellan, particularly the 3 that are in here, starting with Sins of Empire being the first one in the series, followed up by Wrath of Empire, and then again by Blood of Empire at the very end. Fantastic read. Check it out. It's well worth it. I promise you that. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought down below. Have you read this series? Is this a series you want to read? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, until next time, keep on reading. Bye!